In the dim corners of the ancient Roman world, behind marble temples and bustling marketplaces, there existed a quieter, darker tradition, one not carved into stone monuments or praised in epic poetry. I'm talking about the strange, secretive practice of curse tablets, what scholars call deficciones. Welcome to Stained Glass Bones, where today we'll dive into the world of Roman magic, binding spells, and the curious desire to control fate itself. So let's set the stage. Imagine Rome at its height. Senators in flowing togas debating in the Forum, gladiators preparing for the roar of the Colosseum, merchants haggling along the Tiber. The empire was vast, powerful, and ordered, or so it seemed. But under the surface, ordinary people were not satisfied with leaving their fortunes to chance or their enemies unpunished. They wanted control. And when official avenues, courts, priests, or social standing weren't enough, many turned to something far more intimate. Inscribed curses written on sheets of lead, whispered to the gods of the underworld, and hidden away in places where the living and the dead met. These curse tablets were often small, sometimes no larger than the palm of your hand. A thin sheet of lead was scratched with letters using a stylus or sharp tool. The writing could be crude, rushed, or deliberately reversed. Mirror writing was common, thought to have special power. The words themselves were anything but casual. They were pleas, commands, even threats, aimed at bending the will of divine forces against a chosen target. These tablets weren't just expressions of anger. They were acts of faith in the supernatural, a desperate attempt to wrest agency from an unpredictable world. But what did these curses actually say? Let's start with an example from Britain, in the city of Bath, known in Roman times as Aquae Sulis. The sacred spring there was dedicated to the goddess Sulis Minerva, and dozens of tablets were discovered at the bottom of the waters. Many were simple curses against thieves. One reads, Dosimedes has lost 2 gloves. He asks that the person who has stolen them lose their mind and eyes in the temple where you appoint. Another tablet, cursing a bathing tunic thief, says, I give to the goddess Sulis the person who has stolen my cloak, whether man or woman, slave or free. Let them not have health until they bring it back. Here, you can hear the desperation and anger of ordinary Romans, robbed and powerless, turning to supernatural enforcement. Not all curses were about theft. In fact, some of the most chilling come from the world of love and rivalry. One tablet from Carthage contains a fiery plea: bind the woman named Victorina, so that she cannot sleep with anyone else, so that she burns with desire for me alone, so that her body is on fire, so that she cannot resist until she comes to me. This was not a sweet love poem. It was compulsion, a magical attempt to control another person's emotions and body. In modern terms, it's more like stalking through sorcery, disturbing but very real in its historical context. Other tablets focused on competition, particularly in the world of sports. Chariot races were the NASCAR of ancient Rome, huge, thrilling, and often brutally competitive. Fans and gamblers had a lot riding on the outcome. Archaeologists in Rome have found curses aimed directly at rival charioteers. One tablet reads, bind, smash, kill, and strangle Porphyrius, the charioteer, and may he not ever be able to race, walk, or speak. The tablet was then folded, pierced with nails, and thrown into a grave. Imagine placing a supernatural bet, not only hoping your team wins, but magically ensuring the opponent fails. These weren't just wishes. They were calculated acts of sabotage, blending personal ambition with the arcane. Legal disputes were another favorite. In courts, where rhetoric and persuasion were everything, binding spells often targeted an opponent's ability to speak. A typical formula was, bind the tongue, the lips, the mind of so-and-so, so that he may not speak against me. One such curse from Athens demanded that the opponent forget his words in the courtroom, leaving him stammering and defeated. It was magical sabotage, designed to win not by skill or justice, but by silencing the enemy with invisible bonds. The legal system of Rome, while structured, couldn't always protect individuals from the unseen forces they feared most. Now, how were these curses actually carried out? The ritual was just as important as the words. After inscribing the tablet, the writer might fold it, roll it tightly, or pierce it with an iron nail. This physical act symbolized the magical binding of the victim. In some cases, clay or wax dolls were made, sometimes pierced with pins, and buried alongside the tablet. The chosen hiding place was crucial. Wells, springs, and rivers were popular, as these were seen as gateways to the underworld. Graves were even better. By depositing the curse with the restless spirits of the dead, the writer was enlisting the dead as agents of vengeance. Think about that. A tablet scratched with your name, bound with nails, buried in a graveyard, calling upon the gods below to torment you. It's a chilling thought, and one that must have terrified those who believed they might be the target of such sorcery. The Romans believed in a world where the dead could influence the living, and these tablets were their way of tapping into that power. The language of the curses often included the names of powerful deities. Hecate, the goddess of magic and crossroads, was a common figure. Pluto and Persephone, rulers of the underworld, were frequently invoked. Some tablets went even further, calling on mysterious demons or spirits whose names are otherwise lost to history. These names were often written in long strings of strange syllables, what scholars call voce magicae, magical words meant to resonate with hidden power. They might look like nonsense, but to the writer, they were the keys to unlocking divine force. It wasn't only the powerless who used curse tablets. Evidence shows that even the wealthy and influential turned to them. A senator might try to cripple a political rival. A merchant could curse his competitors. Magic wasn't an alternative to Roman life. It was woven into it. A parallel system of influence and control, hidden but present. Even elites, who had access to legal and social power, sought supernatural assistance when their ambitions clashed with fate or rivals. Of course, not everyone approved. Officially, Roman law frowned upon harmful magic, especially if it led to someone's death. The 12 Tables, Rome's earliest law code, even outlawed certain kinds of spells. But proving magical crime was difficult, and belief in its effectiveness was widespread enough that people were willing to risk it. The line between religion and superstition was thin, and many Romans saw magic as a legitimate tool for protecting their interests. What makes these curse tablets especially fascinating is how personal they are. Unlike inscriptions on grand monuments, these are the raw words of ordinary people, scratched out in anger, lust, desperation, or spite. They give us a glimpse into everyday frustrations that are oddly relatable. Stolen clothes, heartbreak, rivalry, and the hope that somehow the universe, or the gods of the underworld, might step in to set things right. One of the most haunting aspects is the physicality of the tablets themselves. Imagine holding a piece of lead, cool and heavy in your hand, inscribed with jagged letters spelling out someone's fate. Some are neatly written, others are chaotic, as though scratched out in a rush of emotion. Many are pierced with nails, scarred by fire, or folded so tightly they are almost impossible to read. They were never meant to be seen by other humans. They were messages to the unseen world, a testament to the fragility of human control and the enduring need for power. Even today, thousands of these tablets survive, unearthed from wells, graves, and sanctuaries across the Roman Empire. Each one whispers a story, fragments of forgotten lives. We may never know if they worked, if Porphyrius the charioteer stumbled on the racetrack, or if Victorina really felt her heart burn with desire. But we know they mattered deeply to the people who made them. In a world of uncertainty, where fate could change in an instant, they offered a sense of agency, however dark or desperate, and that's why cursed tablets captivate us today. They reveal not just the grandeur of Rome, but its shadows, the hidden hopes and hatreds of people long gone, bound in lead and entrusted to the gods below. Through these small, intimate artifacts, we glimpse a world where magic was as much a part of daily life as law or religion. A reminder that even in an empire built on order, chaos and desperation found their way into the cracks. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysterious world of Roman soul-binding tablets, though the Romans would simply have called them curses, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There are countless more strange and forgotten corners of history waiting to be uncovered, and here at Stained Glass Bones, we'll keep exploring them together. Until next time, remember, sometimes history isn't written in marble or ink, but in lead, nailed shut and whispered to the dead.